Welcome back to Good Day Stateline. We are back with Zach at the Chicago-Rockford International Airport. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Thanks for having us in this super cool room.
No problem.
So tell us a little bit about the current construction that's happening here at the airport.
So obviously there's been a lot of highlight on construction activities that have been happening at the airport. Really kind of just walk back in time a little bit. Construction really kind of took place with our EA development, or environmental assessment development, back in 2019. That assessment really kind of included the entire project, as well as public outreach and public comment period. During that process, that was about August, September period of 2019. But during that, we kind of reviewed the entire project, went through the public outreach process, did some news stories, ran ads, reached out with different agencies as part of our coordination effort to really talk through the project. But since then, we've really kind of rolled into a construction period that's really kind of accommodated a bunch of different projects on the airport. But currently, the project that's kind of getting a lot of highlight is the roadway, and the roadway that kind of is planned to go through the Belleville Prairie. That portion of the project is still under Section 7 consultation with the FAA. And while it's going on, while consultation, until it's wrapped up or finally approved, no construction will happen in those areas until that process is complete and approval has been granted. So just kind of working with those partners right now to kind of see where that goes, and hopefully wrap that up later this year. And with that, though, there's been some changes from our original plan. One of the big changes that kind of was announced last October, but I think is not really highlighted very well, is the rule of the detention basin. There was a detention basin really to do with water runoff from all the projects that we removed back in October from the development plan. That detention basin directly affected that prairie area, but that was a voluntary conservation measure that we took that removed that from that project. We've also throughout the project had discussion with IDNR related to plant translocations and seed collections that we originally agreed to last fall. Didn't happen because of the ongoing litigation related to the project, but we're still working with them to coordinate for the future to allow that to happen. And then, as well as we're currently in consultation or discussion with a few different conservation agencies about additional conservation measures. Really haven't had any conclusion to that. There's been, obviously, with the highlight on the project, there's a lot of hesitation from those groups, but really, still trying to reach out related to conservation measures, really off-site, not on the airport, but trying to keep moving forward with that consultation process.
Well, and I think you do have some exciting news about something that's ready to open pretty soon.
Yes, Building 2, which is 100,000 square feet of air cargo warehouse. That is actually, we received occupancy and will go into operation in April. It's fully leased out and it's very desperately needed. So very happy to have that going into operation. And then we also announced last month at our board meeting a construction contract related to what's called Building 3, which is a 50,000 square foot warehouse. That'll go into construction on April 1st with the idea of opening January or February of next year.
And what are those used for?
It's all air cargo. It's additional. It's additional space to allow the continued movement and development and growth. Our international cargo on the airport, which is all these facilities, the 90,000 square feet that we opened up in June of last year, the 100,000 that's opening in April, and then the 50,000 that is going into construction on April, is all related to international air cargo. And just the massive growth we've been seeing in that market. Which
is pretty amazing. We talked about this last time we were here, just the fact of how much cargo and shipping is happening here versus people getting on airplanes to go to Florida.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's happening too, but just the amount of things that are moving through this airport, from probably shoes to cars, right?
Yeah, everything in between, medical devices, cars, clothing, it's anything and everything, really. Yeah. So it's been a crazy few years for sure.
And when we're talking about the growth, you're moving bigger and better and faster and everything than you expected.
Yeah, so 2021 was our largest year ever in terms of air cargo. We did 3.4 billion pounds of landed weight in 21, but we're already exceeding those numbers. January was already 25% up. The February numbers are similar, and we're just continuing to keep growing. And quite honestly, the communication with the carriers and the shippers, it's just snowballing. We're working on some additional developments on the outside of the airport as well. With really going to be, those are going to be private developments. The airport won't be developing those, but those are all to also service the air cargo growth at Rockford.
And one of the just amazing things when you think about all of this is how many jobs have been created in the last 3 years.
Correct. I mean, it's just, you look back 10 years ago,
Yeah.
the airport supported roughly about 2,000 jobs on the property, and we just went through, actually, Department of Transportation just did a review that closed last year, 8,000 jobs. And 10 years ago, it was only 4,000 jobs supported regionally. The number's over 21,000 jobs. So
Wow.
it's all just trying to add more and more, growth and opportunity to the region.
Coming up next, we are off to paint some fences with Russell and Lisa from Renaissance Painting and Restoration on the Good Day State Line Home Show. And then a new Let's Try It with So Shape. We'll be right back.